we're going to get into the Eddie and Nketiah stuff because I do feel like that is the conversation of today. Eddie comes in, and before this game, he wasn't in like every single preferred lineup that I saw did not include Eddie and Nketiah. It didn't. I think a lot of people were disappointed off of the back of his cameo appearance against Sevilla. Gabriel Jesus gets injured. People have Trossard through the middle. That's who I had. People have Havertz through the middle. No Eddie. Eddie comes out there and scores 3 goals, you guys. 3. 3. I mean, when's the last time an Arsenal player has gotten a hat trick in the Premier League? It has to have been like Aubameyang or somebody like that. That is a response by somebody who is tired of being slandered. Now, I don't care whether or not Sheffield are a bad team because, again, if it was just about Sheffield being a bad team, everybody would get a hat trick against them. And they've held, I think, every single top 6 team that they've played, they've held them to a 2-1 scoreline. So it's not just about it being Sheffield. Hat tricks are hard to get. And so Eddie Nketiah deserves so much credit for today because no one wanted him in the team. He had a poor showing against Sevilla, and he comes out there and leads us to a victory that we need. Like, it's Sheffield, and we should win, and we probably win no matter what. But his goals were what allowed the likes of Vieira to come on, Trossard to get some minutes, Tomiyasu to come on. It allowed us to breathe, get that space in between us and Sheffield, and just kind of have an easy day out. So I do want to spend some time on Eddie because he's gotten a lot of criticism. He's not somebody that I rate very highly. But in the end of the day, when somebody shows you like and is like, you know what, I'm stepping up in this moment, like you have to give them credit where credit is due. And so there'll be no Eddie slander today, okay? Eddie absolutely showed up when we needed him to. Gabriel Jesus sitting in the stands. We're going to need Eddie. So we're going to need him. If he's going to be playing, he needs to score goals. So opposition aside, you just don't see hat tricks that often. So when they get them, you have to applaud them. So well done for Eddie. Well done for Eddie. Yeah, for people that are saying, I don't care, I want Eddie gone, it doesn't really change the fact that he deserves credit for today. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because at this stage, I feel very similarly about Eddie as I do about Jorginho. Because Jorginho is somebody that nobody really likes. Nobody really likes Jorginho. He's not somebody that, people really get behind. And so why is Jorginho in the team? Why is Jorginho playing so many minutes? Jorginho is playing so many minutes because we decided to buy him instead of buying somebody else, a player that doesn't have legs, a player that's probably not good enough for us in terms of like a backup CDM. But the main reason why he's there is because the main guy that plays in that position is never available. And so if Gabriel Jesus continues not to be available and the club continue not to upgrade upon Eddie Nketiah, I can't hate on him for being an average player, can I? At some stage, it's on the club to move on from a player that we don't feel like is good enough or is holding us back. So when Eddie does what he does best, which is score goals, we have to give him credit where credit is due. When Jorginho plays well against Brentford, you give him credit where credit is due. You may still not want them there, but it's not their fault. Eddie is here because Eddie wants to play for Arsenal and he has a contract. And so that's not on Eddie. So when Eddie plays well, you give Eddie credit. And I'm going to give Eddie credit where credit is due because it's not his fault that he's here. If I'm mad about him being here, I'm directing that towards the manager, recruitment, and all of that because we've had multiple opportunities to upgrade upon him and we haven't done so. So is that on Eddie? No, it's not. So there you go. Amon says Eddie's defense league will be feasting and starving. It goes, and that's the thing. It's like, that's why you can't go too far. Like Eddie definitely deserves his flowers today because he had a fantastic performance, but the 4 or 5 performances before that, he wasn't very good. So, it's important, I think, not to go so far, but Eddie is going to give you this against the lower level opposition. I think where he struggles is coming off of the bench in games sometimes and starting against better sides. That's where I think he struggles a little bit. So that's not on him. To me, that's not on him. What do you give Eddie other than a 10? What do you give Eddie other than 10? I just don't see any way to give him anything other than a 10. I think he totally deserves that. And again, like I said, despite me, I'm not going to change my opinion on him, but it's not really a day for that. It's not really a day for, does this change your overall opinion on Eddie? It's not a day for that. Today is a day to celebrate a player that's gotten a hat trick in the Premier League. That is that's big. Not a lot of players get hat tricks. Remember, y'all were kissing Evan Ferguson's behind because he got that hat trick at the beginning of the season, y'all. He hasn't done anything since then. Okay. So Eddie deserves that same level, I think, of gas just for this performance, just for today. And so for me, he gets a 10, obviously. And he allows us to, you know, get the substitutions in to relax a little bit more. I don't think we were stressed out, but from a fan's perspective, he allowed us to relax. And the first goal is just great play. If anybody else does that, that is like goal of the week. You get a ball in a very congested area, take that really nice touch and slot it into the back of the net. That is fantastic center forward play. You know, that was excellent. That might be my favorite goal of the three. The second one was off of a corner, still fantastic, by the way, roof of the net. But out of the first and the third goal, I think the first one is my favorite just because of the speed that he had to get his feet right, the touch, and the finish. I loved it. The third goal, it was fantastic. Eddie gets a 10 for me. I don't know how you get how you give him anything less. Martin N says 11, 10 points for the hat trick and 1 point or bonus point for being selfless and giving the penalty to Fabio. Exactly. That's really nice. And I wonder if Fabio did have the baby or he's about to have the baby because he put the ball underneath his shirt. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into something. BroPro says Eddie has the fundamentals of a striker that people underrate. Irvin says that cross from Rice, though, Eddie is a 10. I agree. Nostradamus says 9.5 out of 10. We was just chatting. We want 4. Chanting. We want 4. Chosen One says 10. Hat trick hero. Hope he stays at Arsenal. Like you said, he could definitely bag 15 to 18 goals a season if for more mid-table team in the Premier League. And those players are very underappreciated. DJ, oh no, I saw it. DJ says, if Eddie bags 15 plus goals in the Prem this year, what conversations are we having? Let's see him do it first. I think he has 5 already in a quarter of the season is gone, and Jesus is going to be out for probably another month, maybe. I'm just saying, because hamstrings, you usually keep you out for 3 to 4 weeks. So Eddie has the chance to maybe get to 6 or 7, and then you're halfway there before the half of the year, or half of the season. So let's see if he gets to 10 by halfway through the season. We're having very funny conversations, but right now we can hold our horses just a little bit. But that's an interesting conversation to have. He's 24 now, so either he's going to become a, a fantastic striker or he's going to be not. Do you see what I'm saying? I feel like at 24, you're really going to understand what the level of this player is. He's no longer a young player. He's getting a little bit more playing time. He's having a little bit more responsibility. So either we'll find that Eddie is a lot better than we thought he was, and he really goes up to the next level after being called up to England and things like that too, or he ends up being a mid-table striker. I think this is the season where we'll really find that out. If you're still trying to decide whether or not you think he's good enough or not. Dale says 10. He doesn't score the first goal. I could see 0-0 at half. Yeah, he helps us break through that, and that's individual quality, I think, as well. It's not a tap in, that goal at 0-0. It's not a tap in. It's not lucky goal or anything like that. That took skill that if that was anybody else, we'd be wanting that player in our team. So he deserves a lot of credit for that at 0-0 when it's still a little bit are that we're going to break through or not. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. And Kasi says Eddie needs to stay consistent. That is the challenge. I agree with you. Onan says I was very impressed with Mohamed El Neni's performance when he came on. Ciao. I didn't really see it that much. I had already started like working on the stream, so y'all gonna have to tell me about it. Here to there says, agreed, Jess. Let's see what Eddie does at St. James's Park. Well done today, but much to improve still. Exactly. I don't think we have to go crazy right now. Nothing, it's just please give him credit for what he's done because it's hard to get a hat trick in the Premier League. It doesn't happen very often. So when it does, you just have to say, you know what? Fair play.